Hello and welcome to our first sneak peek to what you're gonna get when we releasing our mod tools. I will show off the map editor where you can do the new maps or complete campaigns with. In this video I will show you in real time how easy it is to create a little map with some events happening in a little fight. So we will do more in-depth videos later on where we explain in detail what functionality we do have and how they are working. So we create a new map, 15 multiplied by 15 is okay. Down here you have the layers, and you can add tile layers, object layers and enemy layers. You can move them up and down in rendering order. So these here are the basics you are gonna use to have at least a level. So hide the light layer so we see what we are actually doing, and rename this with double clicking on it. I call it ground layer, so because that's where we are going to put all the basic tiles on it. Here you can have parallax settings. If you want to have a background, for example, you can change the render mode and the opacity of a layer if you want to. So let's start off with doing a few basic layers. I make one for the borders at the floor. I call them border floor, and one for the drop shadows. You will see later on. Drop shadows. This one will be multiplied and has a transparency of 75. That's how we ended up having the basic settings for halfway. Anyway, okay, let's start off with creating a room. Up here you have the different tools. This one is for drawing tiles. This one is for objects, enemies here, placing lights. This is for the collision later on, and this is for the scripting or the trigger system we have. So let's start with putting some tiles on the ground. All the tiles and enemies you can find are here. You can add new ones later on if you want to, but this is part of another tutorial. You have here you have all the objects, all the enemies, lights, and triggers types. So now let's start with a simple room. We take this. You can select by left clicking and drag. You can select multiple tiles at the same time. So let's paint basic. You can also copy that with right clicking in the level, and then you have a bigger brush, so you can actually copy complete rooms over. So add some variation to the ground, that it's not that boring. So so this is going to be really fast and dirty. Oh well. So I'm doing this in real time, so it could be that we are going to have to change some parts. Right, I don't like how the wall is looking currently, so let's do that. And add one here. And maybe we're going to do this. Right. So to delete something, you just pick an empty tile and then you can remove it like a normal brush. So let's do another room down here. For this we take sort of tile. That's where we are going to put the player start in. So something like that. Alright. This All right. On top of that, we normally use borders on the floor, so to add some details on the feeling of, you know. So you can hide this layer if you later on don't want to have it for because it's maybe obstructing your view for on some details you want to edit, so you just gonna hide them. So let's do that. Here. Here. So, and down here we are going to, so I do that floor, I do a different floor, it doesn't fit well. Let's take the blue one. Do some variations again here, there, there. So, all right, now adding some borders again. So, we recommend to save quite often currently because the editor tends to crash. It has an autosave function, I think, which triggers every 5 minutes. So, but still, it can be rather annoying to lose like 5 minutes of work sometimes. All right, I see we need some walls down here. Let's take this one here, and this one here, and here. All right. So now we have the basic layout of the room. Now we add another tile layer and call it borders wall. We move that up over the action layer. Action layer is the layer where the characters will move in and where the interaction objects are. So everything that's above it will be rendered over the characters, and everything below the action layer will be rendered below it. It's like in Photoshop or another art tool, so it's quite easy to understand, to get a feeling for it. So let's do the borders. We always do the borders here too, so to get the feeling of cut out wall and you are looking into a room. It really helps to get the feeling for that. So this one, this one. So if you have similar rooms, you can actually just copy the whole thing and you have the whole brush to put somewhere else. All right, finish that up. So you can make this one here bigger if you want to, if you need to see something more. So this one, this one. So now the basic layout should be done. Now what we are going to do, we have experimented with that quite a lot, is because of the way Halfway is rendered the perspective, this JRPG style view, it feels really flat. What really helps to give the player and everyone a feeling of depth is to add drop shadows, even if it doesn't really make sense because there is no skylight, but still for visibility and understanding of how the room is laid out, it really helps visually. So I'm adding that on the drop shadow layer. The, the, the whole thing is multiplied and it's rendered with 75% of transparency. You can set that to anything you want. It's just how we found it's looking best for a spaceship interior. So feel free to change that if you like. So you can also copy brushes here if you want to speed up that stuff. So yeah, I think down here on drop shadow. So all right. So that's it for the basics. Now let's save this